A 14-year-old girl ran straight into a bar packed with 70 Hells Angels bikers. She wasn't asking for help. She wasn't lost. She wasn't scared of them. She was warning them. She told them they had 8 minutes to save everything they owned. 3 minutes after the last motorcycle was rolled inside, an EF3 tornado erased the bar from the ground. And during the chaos, the girl disappeared. 2 weeks later, when the bikers finally found her, 300 of them returned to that town. Not to say thank you, but to change everything. Sophie Martinez noticed the sky before anyone else did. She always did. The air felt wrong the moment she stepped out of the Sedil Public Library. Too still. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears until it feels like the world is holding its breath. Sophie stopped walking. She looked west. The clouds weren't dark gray or heavy blue. They were green. Not a natural green, but a glowing, sickly shade that seemed to move on its own, rolling and folding like something alive. Her heart sank. She didn't need a siren. She didn't need an alert on her phone. She had learned the sky the hard way. Years earlier, a tornado had killed her grandmother. Since then, Sophie had learned to read storms the way other kids read faces. The pressure in the air, the metallic taste on the tongue, the silence before the violence. This storm was dangerous. She checked the distance to home. Too far. She wouldn't make it. Then she heard music. Loud, carefree, confident. 2 blocks ahead stood the Thunder Road Bar. And parked outside it, row after row, were motorcycles. 70 of them. Chrome shining. Engines cooling. Perfectly exposed. The annual Hells Angels rally. Sophie knew what an EF3 tornado could do to exposed vehicles. She had seen cars wrapped around trees. Metal twisted like paper. She stood frozen for 1 second. Then she started running toward the bar. The parking lot was alive with laughter and noise. Men in leather vests stood in groups, beers in hand, shouting stories over the music blasting from inside. No one was looking at the sky. Sophie pushed through the crowd, her chest tight. "Excuse me," she said, tugging on a man's vest. "There's a tornado coming." He glanced down at her and smiled. "Sure there is, kid. I'm serious. The sky is green. You need to move your bikes." Another man overheard and laughed. "I've ridden through storms for 30 years. This ain't nothing." She tried again and again. No one listened. They saw a skinny 14-year-old girl. Nothing more. Panic surged. Every second mattered. Sophie thought of her grandmother's last scream, of roofs lifting into the air, of schools torn apart. She had 8 minutes. So she did the one thing she had never done in her life. She made herself impossible to ignore. Sophie climbed onto a picnic table in the middle of the patio. "Listen to me." Her voice cut through the music like a blade. The speakers went silent. Conversations stopped. 70 men turned toward her. "You have 8 minutes," she shouted, her voice shaking but loud. 8 minutes before a tornado destroys everything you own. Look at the sky. Look at it. For a moment, nothing happened. Then one man stepped forward. He was older, bigger than the rest. His face was lined with scars and years of road dust. On his vest was a single word: President. He didn't laugh. He looked at Sophie. Then he looked up. At the green sky. At the rotating clouds. The color drained from his face. "She's right," he said quietly. Then he raised his voice. "Everyone move. Now." What followed was chaos, but not panic. 70 bikers moved at once like parts of a single machine. Keys appeared in hands. Engines roared to life. Orders were shouted and obeyed instantly. An old barn behind the bar was thrown open. One by one, the motorcycles began rolling toward it in tight formation. Sophie jumped down and found herself pointing, directing, shouting instructions without thinking. "This one first. Careful with that turn. Stack them close." The president, grizzly, worked beside his brothers, sweat running down his face. "How much time?" he yelled. Sophie turned back toward the sky. A funnel was forming now, stretching downward like the finger of an angry god. 3 minutes, she said. Maybe 2. They barely made it. The barn doors slammed shut as the wind hit. The sound was unimaginable, like a freight train tearing through the world. The building shook. Something outside exploded. Then silence. Slowly, the doors opened. The Thunder Road bar was gone, flattened, scattered, reduced to debris. The oak tree that had shaded the patio for 50 years had been ripped from the ground and thrown hundreds of yards away. Inside the barn, 70 motorcycles stood untouched. Grizzly turned around. "Where's the girl?" "She was gone." Sedil looked like a war zone. Homes collapsed. Roads blocked by trees. Sirens screamed through the night. Sophie ran home. Her apartment was damaged but standing. Her mother was alive, shaking, crying, holding her like she would never let go. Sophie said she had hidden at the library. She didn't mention the bar. She didn't mention the bikers. Life went on, or tried to. The school was destroyed. Classes moved to cramped trailers under the brutal Texas heat. The library was rubble. And the bullying grew worse. Whispers, accusations, cruel smiles. One afternoon, a girl cornered Sophie between trailers, mocking her, calling her names, accusing her of being around criminals during the storm. Sophie stayed silent. Then a boy stepped in. "I saw what you did," he said later. "You saved them." Sophie denied it. But the secret was spreading. 2 weeks after the storm, the engines returned. Not 70, 300. Hell's Angels from across multiple states filled the school parking lot. They came with tools, lumber, and supplies. They came to rebuild. For 6 weeks, the bikers worked from sunrise to sunset. They rebuilt classrooms, a stronger library, spaces where kids could feel safe. People watched in disbelief as the men they had feared became the ones lifting their town back up. When asked why, Grizzly answered simply, "Because a kid ran toward danger when everyone else ran away." Sophie never asked for recognition. She didn't need it. She had seen the storm coming, and instead of running, she chose to act. Sometimes that's enough to change a town. Sometimes that's enough to change a life.